You've made it. The published book, the gallery opening, the funding is yours. But as the weeks and months go by, the excitement fades and you feel disconnected from your work and from yourself. And all you can think is, wow, I thought once I made it, things would be easier. Give me the next few minutes and I'll walk you through the shift that will actually make things easier so that your inside experience of your success will finally match the outside accolades you've earned. I also have a resource for you, our You Matter map, that will help you make this shift starting today. Drop map below and I'll DM it to you. I'm Christine Karen, founder of Good Jelly. I work with people who care deeply about their creative work, and I help them make progress not just reliable, but inevitable. Here's what I see happening. You got to where you are through effort. You sacrificed, you showed up, you built a way of working that got you the external accolades. But now you're realizing that making progress is still such a heavy lift. You weren't expecting that. And it's not like you mind hard work, but the way you're working is starting to take a toll. Even engaging in your creative work, what once brought you so much joy is starting to feel like a slog. And even more concerning, your connection to your creativity is weaker. Sometimes it feels like it's completely gone. That's exactly what one of our graduates was experiencing when she started working with us. She and her editor were working on final revisions of her 20th book. She was clearly adept at making progress, but writing and creating stories had become flat, like she was going through the motions, and she didn't want to continue to work that way. Unfortunately, in situations like this, people aren't even sure they deserve to do anything about it. After all, they have what pretty much everyone else wants. Plus, what other option is there? The traditional productivity paradigm teaches that creative work requires sacrifice, even suffering. So all of us better come to terms with the fact that we signed up for hell if we decide to pursue creative work. So people end up feeling ashamed for struggling and resigned to the idea that they just have to soldier on. Here's why none of that works. Your work depends on your connection to your creativity, to your imagination, with your brain making connections and seeing things differently. That connection is not a nice to have. And if the way you have been trained to get your creative work done, even if it brought you external success up to this point, is now causing that connection to falter or be lost, then that is a problem, period. And there is an alternative. It involves stepping into a simple but revolutionary new paradigm, one where you actually matter in the way you get your creative work done. Imagine a line with a page drawn down the middle of it. Label that line "on my side." The old paradigm of productivity tells you the work matters above all else, or more particularly, the output. But output with a very specific criteria that is rarely spoken aloud. You must produce as much as possible, as fast as humanly possible. And anything less than that means you're acting like an amateur or are lazy. That maximum output above all rule causes people to override their own preferences and needs, to not be on their own side. So if you're feeling disconnected from your creativity, too bad. Churn out the work anyway. If you just want to take a weekend to get some R&R, okay, but just feel guilty the entire time you do it. In short, the old paradigm sets us up to betray ourselves, to become the casualty of the way we get our creative work done. That's a strong statement, I know. But here's what I hear when I say something like that. But isn't that just a little indulgent? If I really just listened to myself, I probably wouldn't get anything done at all. That is how deeply the old paradigm has, well, bamboozled us. So let's look at what's on the other side of that line. Here you work in a territory that I call get legit land. Legit in the sense of you making your needs and preferences legitimate factors that must be considered in how you get your creative work done. In Get Legit land, there is no longer any of the unintended betrayal of yourself. You move your work forward in integrated integrity with yourself. You become your own champion of you, of your creativity, of your preferences and needs, from health to emotional equilibrium to how your brain works. All of that matters. This works because it changes the fundamental relationship between you and your creative work. Over time, when you are in Get Legit land, you get more done with greater ease because you are no longer running on constant depletion. The work is less of a heavy lift and your connection to your creativity thrives. And when that all happens, finally, your inside experience of success will match the outside accolades you've received because now you actually have a creative adventure that you love being on because you have a way of working that is designed by you and for you, and you accept nothing less. When you decide to become the champion of your needs and your preferences in context of how you get your creative work done, that's the moment that you say that you are no longer willing to be collateral damage to get your creative work done. And remember, drop map below and I'll send you the You Matter map so you have a set of questions that will help you stay on the You Matter side of the On My Side line starting today, because the creative work you're here to do needs you, all of you, thriving, you being the champion of you.